Okay. Oh, we're live. Hey.
Oh,
Hey, what's up, everybody? Uh, I accidentally clicked the button, but we're live, so let's go.
all right.
Yeah. So, what's up, DJ? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, doing great. Good to be here.
Yeah. So I actually had like the live on at the same time, so I was hearing myself again. Anyway, yo, what's up, Drew?
Mm.
How's it going? The view with Drew's in the chat. Really
Hey,
appreciate you
what's
coming
up?
through, man. Yeah, so we're going to talk about Ahsoka episode 4. We're going to talk a little bit about how we felt about the series like leading up to it, and then we're going to dive right into it because there's obviously a lot to talk about. So yeah, DJ, how did you feel
Yep.
about episode 4 in general? Like, what? Give me some of your general thoughts because we're actually going to go through a bunch of individual questions. We're going to talk about
Okay.
Ahsoka versus Baylan, Sabine versus Shin, and Ahsoka. Oh, by the way, spoilers. I mean, I don't know if that needs to be said, but spoilers. We're going to talk about Ahsoka and Anakin, Hera in the Ring of Doom, Hannah, Hera versus Morgan in the Ring of Doom because I don't remember what the ring is called, and some other stuff as well. So yeah, what did you think about like just the your overall general feelings coming out of the episode?
Yeah. Very excited for what's coming up next. This is probably my favorite episode of the uh, season so far, but at the same time, I probably have my most gripes with this episode. So,
Really?
yep.
Okay. Yeah. So like, are those going to be addressing like in the individual things we're going to talk about in some of those questions, or should we just
Possibly.
set up? Okay,
I think they will. I think they will. So we can get into those when we get to that.
cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing like dire bad, It's just
Yeah,
I do have a few things.
no, that makes sense. So for me, um, this episode was peak Star Wars to me. I loved every single, not everything, but I love so many different things. I do have some gripes too. I love so many different things about this episode. Like here's one of the biggest things for me. It felt super Star Warsy in the fact that we had two different lightsaber battles going on at the same time, and then a separate space mission going on, and all of them are like interconnected. That's classic Empire Strikes Back. That's
Yep.
classic uh, uh, Revenge of the Sith. Like even like Episode One, Phantom Menace, lightsaber battle going on, something else going on in space. It felt important, right? It felt heavy. Like you got this tone. Sorry, my dog is being a dog. You got this tone right from the beginning that um, that this episode something was going to happen. And I guess you could make like I guess you can make that guess just because it's technically like the mid-season finale. Um, because we're at episode 4, we're already halfway through the show. So
Yep.
yeah, I did have some gripes like you mentioned, but overall, man, I came out of this episode pretty excited. I don't know if anybody in the chat has seen it, but essentially, I put out
I
a
hope so.
14-minute video, um, like just going off about everything that almost everything that happened in the video. I forgot so much to mention so many different things that happened. But yeah, for the most part, I really enjoyed. This is probably my favorite episode of the series so far, without a doubt. Yeah, and so let's get into some of these like individual subjects. But first, what
Okay.
I want to do is like just go through like a quick summary of what went down,
Yeah.
just so we can be on the same page. So Sabine and Ahsoka and Huyang are both on this planet. I don't think they ever named the planet, and they're trying to repair the ship after being shot at and shot down. Essentially, you also have Baylan and Shin and Morgan on the other side trying to activate the key so they can send a ring through space to get to uh, Shannon Sharp. No, I'm joking. To get to uh, Thrawn. I said to get to Thrawn. If Shannon Sharp was on the other end of the universe, we would have to have a larger discussion about the weight and the breadth of Star Wars. But anyway, um,
Especially after this week.
Yeah, yeah. So and he'd be everywhere. So yeah, essentially, throughout the episode, we have several different lightsaber battles. We have Shin versus Sabine. We have Ahsoka versus Baylan. We have Morgan versus Time. Like there's so many different battles, and we also have Hera coming in with the last minute save, and Hera doing a very Hera and Rebels like thing and say, you know what, F it. You guys say I
Yep.
couldn't go. I'm on my way. So yeah, so those are the that's I don't know if you even call that a summary, but those are some of the things that happen. Oh, real quick, because I don't have this in the docket. Seeing the X-wing fighter, I forget his name,
Carson.
the Asian, what is it?
Carson is his name in the show.
Carson.
Paul. Oh man, Paul Lee. Paul Sung Hyun Lee or something like that is
Yeah,
his name in real life. Yeah.
I know him from, of course, Mando when I believe that's when he first showed up,
Yeah.
and also Kim's Convenience, which is a
Very
great show
underrated
that he's
show.
in.
Not enough people watch
Very
that.
underrated. Yeah, I
Yep.
think it's underrated because it's Canadian or something like that. I don't know. More people need to watch
Yeah.
it for
Just
sure.
not enough people watched it. Absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, it was just great seeing him and great seeing like
Yeah.
some X-wing fighters just join along with Hera to go take out. Really, they just went to go rescue Sabine and Ahsoka or
Right.
to provide support, but they ended
On
up in the Ring of Doom.
the Carson thing, I keep waiting for him to pop up and say sneak attack on somebody if they're with his X-wing, just to if you watch Kids Convenience, you know that reference. So
That's a good yeah, that's a good callback. But so yeah, that's our quick summary. I don't know if that's much of a summary, but that is what it is. So also we should so let's get into like some of the things that went on. So after um they get attacked at the ship, after they get attacked on the ship by the minions, I'm just going to call them that Balin sent to take out Ahsoka, or I guess capture them really, because I think he's smart enough to know that they couldn't actually catch Ahsoka or Sabine. But Huyang, our guy, tries to throw hands with some of the minions, and I have a personal beef with Huyang right now, and that is if you're going to train right Jedi, and you're going to train Sabine, and you're going to be hey, you aren't worthy, not necessarily not worthy. Well, that is generally what he said, but you're not up to snuff to be a Jedi, Sabine. I'm gonna need you to be able to throw hands when the minions come around because he got taken out pretty quick. You know what I mean? So he
yeah,
was fighting, and he even had like his little shoulder fist, and he still couldn't do anything. I'm like, Hugh, yeah, you can't. Like, you just showed that you were a badass in training yesterday, and now like you've been taken out pretty easily. The ship is down again. So yeah, I don't. What do you think about that?
yeah, he got a couple of licks in. I mean,
Yeah,
he I don't know. He understood that he was gonna be taken down, and he navigated pretty quickly there.
yeah, but
I
I
think
just need Hugh
he
Yang to like at least take one person out,
yeah,
right? I don't think
as old as he
anybody
is,
got
as
taken
much
out at all.
experience as he's got, he ought to be able to
Right.
yeah,
He's supposed to be like what 500 or so years old.
yeah something. Yeah, he's been around a while. Been there with
Yeah.
other training Jedi and building lightsabers, and yeah, you'd think he'd have a little bit more skill than what he had.
Yes, but the thing I really want to bring up about Hu Yang is what he tells Ahsoka and Sabine right before they leave. Right, Ahsoka and Sabine, they come down, they rescue Hu Yang, they take out all the minions that came to fight him. I just saw Zach attacks in the chat. Zach attacks in the chat rhymes. Zach trademarked. I just trademarked that on live, so you can't use it. But anyway, so basically, yeah, he tells Sabine and Ahsoka right before they leave. Actually, a couple things happen right before they leave. But let's deal with this first. He tells them stick together, right? Stick together. You'll be better off before. You'll be better off together, right? He
Yep,
says you guys work better together. And
yep,
as we see later on in the show, what happens? They split up and all hell breaks loose, right? They basically lose right off of that.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So and like before they left, the other thing that happened was Ahsoka asked Sabine, "Can I trust you?" And she says, "Yeah, of course you can." Right? And then we see like throughout the rest of the episode that that may or may not be as true as we thought it to be. Right? So and we'll get to that part later on. But what did you think about
I
just
kind of, I,
the good?
yeah, I kind of felt even her answer to that, like I just didn't believe her.
No, he was
uh,
like, I'm a little skeptical.
yeah, like just the fact that they even brought it up, I was like, yeah, that's gonna come back around and something when the
That's
time comes. So,
yeah, definitely like heavy foreshadowing vibes. You might as well just
uh
like
huh,
paint the foreshadowing across the front of the screen.
yeah,
But yeah,
we knew
so
there'd at least be a
mhm,
decision when the time come, or else they wouldn't have put that in the episode. So,
right. I think honestly, I was too wrapped up in what was going on that I didn't even consider it until the moment happened when she had to make a decision.
mm,
Um, but yeah, so actually, let's just we can honestly just bounce around a little bit. Let's skip to
okay,
just the that part of the decision, right?
okay.
So my question about that is, do you believe that Sabine is going to the dark side? Do you think that it's possible for her to be tempted by the dark side at all? Because,
I,
and here's the reason why I asked that. Balin did his Sith thing where they close their eyes and they see it was like, I sense darkness in this one, and then
yeah,
he just he turns his lightsaber off, walks right up to her, and starts spitting Sith game right at her.
yeah. So this episode definitely, the first three, I likened to like a New Hope, and then this one is starting our Empire Strikes Back, and you got a little bit of that right here with Vader
Mm-hmm.
to Luke, and now to him to her. So I think that was kind of a throwback to that right there, and she's just not as strong as someone like Luke with that. But at the
Yeah,
same time, she's got other motivations. She's got Ezra she's thinking about, and that's the only
she
person
wants to
that
get
she's
to
thinking
Ezra.
about right now. And I feel like nothing else matters to her at the moment.
Right, because right in the beginning of the episode, I said we are going to be jumping around. Um, before before they even leave, really, Ahsoka makes this assertion that hey, we might have to destroy the key just so that they can't get the throne. We know I know
Yeah.
that that might mean we can't get the Ezra either, but we might have to make some sacrifices just in case. So I think from that point on, the seed was already planted in Sabine's head about I might have to make a decision.
Yep. But even in that moment, I didn't believe that she would ever actually destroy it because she was looking for excuses to, well, let's hurry up and go on and get this done, and
Right.
let's make sure we can get there before that decision has to happen because she didn't want
Yeah.
to make that decision.
Yeah. And honestly, I kind of feel like the two things could be happening here. One, she could be being tempted by the dark side. She could be just like you said, more interested in saving Ezra than even like completing this mission. Because honestly, sometimes Mandalorians are a little arrogant, so it's very
Yep.
possible that she said to herself, "Okay, let's say I give him the key, and we do go to Thrawn. I can escape and get out of here and get Ezra anyway, and then take
Yep.
him out and dip off." So in her mind, to
I,
be like, it really doesn't matter whether or not we get to Thrawn, as long as we can take out, as long as I can get to Ezra.
yeah, I think she thinks she gets Ezra, the two of them can get out together. It ain't no big deal. I really think it's more that than it is the dark side thing.
Yeah, I think that she's playing the long game a little bit.
Yep.
I know that and the other thing that might also help with that or help her to make that decision is I don't know if I'm remembering this wrong, but she did see Ahsoka fall off that cliff, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so she might be thinking to herself, Ahsoka's gone, the ship is
Excuse me.
destroyed. I don't really have a choice. I can't beat Balin and Shin. Like that's not going to happen. So this
Right.
was really the only move that she had.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like even
so
if she had destroyed that,
or she could just destroy it and save
yeah,
the
and then she
universe.
knows she's dead as soon as she does. I mean,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
might be a
So
little bit of self-preservation there. Yeah.
yeah, I think so. So I don't really think that she's. It's possible that she could end up like being tempted by the dark side. I think that would be an interesting direction. I just don't see the writers, and I think it's a. I think they just try and cap her heads up on that one and just make it seem that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and also, I think something else that kind of adds to that is the idea that Shin told her earlier in the show that she has no power, like she has no force power. So her being tempted by the dark side is kind of like to do what though? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's yeah, some of that might be coming up with that as well. But speaking of which, let's actually move back. We're going to backtrack,
Okay.
and we're also going to go. We're going to start with the fights, right? Let's
Cool.
start. Let's talk about Sabine versus Shin. What were your thoughts on that fight in general? Because it seems like you had some negatives, and this might be where it lands. Because I think that a lot of people might have some ideas
Man,
about this fight. What do you think?
I gotta say, I'm loving Shin.
Yes.
I,
Yep.
I've said before, I watched episodes here and there. I didn't watch all of Rebels.
Uh huh.
I'm not liking this Sabine character still, 4 episodes in, and I feel like, and this is the, I guess I'm gonna get into a little bit of this. This is the first episode I have felt like not being a full Rebels watchee. Uh, I feel like I got left behind a little bit in this episode on several different
Okay.
moments, and
I can see that for sure.
the
Yeah.
Sabine, and I think that's what bugged me the most this episode. Even though I loved it, I mean, this is still my favorite episode this season. It's just some of the stuff I'm just like, what? Wait, why? And and Sabine and her decision making, I'm just like, okay, I guess this is her attitude in the show. I
Right.
guess this is her coming out, but I'm not used to this, and she's just coming off as really unlikable to me.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I've heard that from a lot
honestly,
of people that they're just not liking Sabine, that she's
yeah,
coming
and
off as
it's nothing against the
bratty and
actress.
things.
She's doing a
Yeah.
phenomenal job. I
Right. She's doing what she's been asked to do, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But going into this fight, I was kind of, I was like, well, if Sabine gets stabbed again, she better just stay dead.
I understand that feeling. I understand. I don't know if I agree, but I understand. Yeah, what's up, Preston? How you doing, man? It's always good to
Hey.
have you, bro. But yeah, so here's my issue with the fight. First of all, there's things I like about the fight and things I don't like about the fight. And a lot of it is a lot of the things I like about the fight are the fact that it's happening. Like I like the fact that there is a fight between Sabine and Shin, and just as a general concept of Sabine having an arch rival during the course of the
Yeah.
show and potentially throughout the rest of her history in Star Wars, right? That's that also depends on what who makes it out of the show. It's more likely that Sabine will make it and that Shin might not, but at the same time, yeah. So the issue that so I like the fact that there's a rival for Sabine. There's someone for her to focus on because really, this show has turned more into a buddy cop thing
Yeah.
than a rebel show. And of course, like the show's called Ahsoka, the focus is on Ahsoka. If they wanted to call it Rebels, they would have just called it Rebels, and I believe all those other Rebels characters will be a lot more involved than they already are, right? So the fact that this buddy cop show, I would call it, with Ahsoka and um, Sabine, I think that it's good that there's focuses for each of those characters, right? Here's here's my issue with it. When Sabine and Shin meet up again to fight, Sabine still hasn't really trained like that. And to me, it really feels like the writers are handcuffed with how much they can do with Sabine, only
Yeah.
because if you put Sabine and Shin in an isolated situation, which they were in, and it would play out the way that you would think it would play out. I don't think it would take that long for Shin to take out Sabine at all. I don't see Sabine currently as any more difficult to take it being any more
Yeah.
difficult to take out Sabine than the people that Shin took out on the ship in the very first 5 minutes of the first
Yeah.
episode.
Might as well be
Because
fighting a droid.
yeah, because I think that that's kind of what's holding that drama back is that everybody here knows that Sabine can't really mess with Shin like that. There's
Yeah.
been nothing to show that
Well, and they
Sabine.
tried to
Yeah,
let her do her Mandalorian stuff to start the
right.
fight, but I mean,
Yeah,
what's that gonna, what's that gonna
S-
do against Shin? Like,
small, super small Star Wars nitpick, like super small. It's not that deep. It's really not that important. Nitpick.
You know what we
I
needed?
would have, yeah.
We needed a Sabine montage to start this episode. Just a training
Oh,
montage.
training
Get
montage,
her,
Rocky
get her.
training montage.
There you go.
I the Mandalorian.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just remix the song, put it in here.
yeah. But yeah, my super small nitpick is this. I just want to see a Mandalorian with the helmet on, with the lightsaber in her hand.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They broke first of all. What is her helmet made out of? Because it broke up against a tree, and I'm just kind of like, hey, that thing is supposed to protect you from
Okay. See,
everything.
I wasn't sure if it broke or had just knocked off her head or if it was.
No, because it
I
didn't
mean,
come up.
sure.
It looked like it just
Okay.
came
Okay.
apart, and I'm just like, dog, what is your helmet made out of? You got the discount Mando helmet?
Yeah, that wouldn't be Vescar if it's hitting a tree and falling
Yeah.
apart.
Oh, also, can we also talk about real quick? Beskar can deflect a lightsaber. When was that a
Well,
thing?
we did see that in Mandalorian season 2 because that staff
Okay.
is made out of it, and that was what Ahsoka was
The
fighting Morgan with. Morgan had the
okay,
staff that Mando wound up
got it,
with, and yeah,
got
that
it. Okay, because that
and
threw me for a
it got
loop.
melted down and put into his new armor and stuff, you know. So that's
Gotcha.
that's been
All
established
right.
before this.
So thankfully that's resolved because I was like, I don't know if that's because every once in a while in the show they just been doing new things that are like, is that how that works? So so yeah, but yeah, my biggest issue with the fight isn't that there's a fight at all. It's just the fact that they are walking on eggshells with what they can do with Sabine. You know what I mean? She's already been stabbed once. If she wasn't stabbed before and she was stabbed this episode, I think it would have been a lot more powerful.
Yeah,
Because this episode
yeah,
had all the drama involved in terms of like the stakes were high. Before it was
hmm,
kind of like now her first stabbing just seems it's literally an afterthought. It has not
yeah.
come up. It won't come up again. Is my prediction.
All it did
Um,
was show us that she can't beat Shin, and then now we got to see her fight her again without proper training.
right, with no training, and then is she supposed to be getting training sometime between episode 5, and 8? Because it doesn't seem like there's going to be time.
I mean, she ain't
Yeah.
gonna get it right now where she's at. So, I
Mhm.
mean, maybe she will if the dark side thing comes about. I don't know.
Maybe. Who knows how long that trip is to Thrawn. But yeah, so yeah, so that fight, I'm glad it happened. I hate the way that it went down. Yeah, because oh yeah, even the beginning of it, just shooting the pea shooters at him. It's like I know Jedi's and Sith have dealt with guns before. This should not be this difficult. And I'll conclude with this. That's why it also does a disservice to Shin as well, because it's making her look weak because she can't take out this very easy opponent. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really don't understand why Shin did the smoke screen runaway stuff
Right.
either.
Right.
Like
I
she had that fight won. Why would she?
Yeah, exactly. And then she runs back to her master. Oh, was it because the key was actually used? I don't remember why she ran away.
Yeah, I think
I've only
I
seen the
see
episode once.
comments a little bit
Yeah.
too going on with talking about that. But yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't really understand it. I mean, how would she even know that the key was gone? I mean, that's
Well, the one thing is like the magic dome came down, I
okay.
believe. Other
Okay.
than that,
I guess
yeah,
they could see it from where they were.
yeah. But let's get to some of those comments. We have we'll start from the top. Um, the view with Drew says, "What's up? What's up, Drew? How's it going?"
Jerp.
Uh, Meow 9131 says, "I agree." Not sure which one she's agreeing with, but I'm going to assume that I'm right about all things. Um, oh yeah, she says that lightsaber battle was crazy. It was. She's laughing. You're we already addressed the you're. We also have Meow Mix, Meow 9131, laughing again. And then we have, yep, see, they didn't listen and found out fat meat is greasy. That is a very old school Southern grandma phrase. I'm wondering how old Meow 9131 is. I do know exactly how old she is because she's sitting right there. She's my wife. Um, um, but yeah,
She just
so
wanted to hear you say that on stream.
I know. Yeah, that's definitely why she put it in here. Um, Preston Review says hi. What's up, Preston? Like I said, it's always good to have you, man. Zach says no one other than the robot is super likable. You don't like Balin? Balin is that dude. I feel like most people are like Huyang for sure. I agree about Huyang. He's definitely like the most likable dude in the show thus far. Not most likable, but he's definitely like one of the most likable characters in the show so far. But I'm also enjoying Balin. I'm also enjoying Shin. I wish that they would allow Shin to do a little bit more. Um,
Are you
and
supposed to like the villains though?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, okay,
No, no,
okay.
no.
As long as
Because
that's a
think about it. Think about it like this: if the villains suck, like just as general characters, then
yeah,
the show is like what have we been saying about some MCU movies for a long time? Yeah, the it was good, but the villain was eh. And then all the ones with great villains turn out to be the better movies. You know what I mean? And the same thing goes with
yeah.
everything else.
But that word, I guess that word "lockable" is just kind of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know that the villain's
Oh
supposed to
no,
be
I mean I'm not
likable just
voting for
because of.
them. I don't want them to succeed. But yeah, yeah, I don't want them, to win the day, but I do
Yeah,
like
yeah.
so sidebar. I've always thought Darth Maul should have been a three-movie villain. That's just my personal
I wouldn't have had a problem
theory.
with that.
Yeah, he could have replaced Dooku, who's turned out to be an okay character in Clone Wars. He's much better in Clone Wars than he is in the movies.
Yeah,
And General Grievous is great as a concept, but his execution he kind of just became goofy after a while. So
yeah,
I actually really think that building up Darth Maul over the course of three movies to have him in that final movie would, or at least like the first two, because you got to resolve the episode three with the Anakin versus Obi Wan and stuff like that. But yeah, that's a sidebar. Yeah, so um, yeah, so and going to the next one, it seems like they are doing what we got to see actors face. It seems it seems like they are doing the we gotta see actors face thing they do all the time in these shows where they're absolutely. I
yeah,
don't know how many times I've seen Spider-Man fight somebody with his mask off, and it's like, dude, you are out in public or you are somewhere else or something or something like they gotta get the mask off. And I just for the life, I think the only one that keeps their mask on during these super fights is or like the end battle or whatever is probably Deadpool. Because other than that, I just they all gotta have their face show.
yep.
Yeah. So next comment. Wasn't weird they just stopped fighting and ran over to yes, it was. It was very weird. I'm assuming that you're saying wasn't it weird that they just stopped fighting? Yeah, that was a choice that felt like a we just got to move this plot along kind of choice. There was no real reason for them to need to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's get to our next question. I'm actually going to insert a question in here that I didn't have on the docket just to
Uh
get your thoughts on it. Because I forgot to put it in.
oh.
What's the Smoke Ninja's name?
Merrick,
The Inquisitor, Merrick.
Marrok. Is that right? Maybe.
Yep. And that's where we'll go to. What's the deal with Merrick? Because I don't know what's going on there. I'm assuming that he's a product of Morgan. Like she's a witch. So I'm assuming that it's possible that she's just um, a magic witch of or a magic manifestation of something. because I know there was a lot of theories beforehand about who that character could be. Some people
Yeah,
were even saying Ezra, and I was like, other people were saying like Star Killer, who honestly I don't have much history with myself. What did you think before, and what do you think is going on now?
I hoped it was gonna be somebody we knew, maybe a video game character like Starkiller or something. But
Okay,
honestly, knowing Star Wars, I expected it to be nobody. uh,
that seems to be a theme very recently,
um,
or
I
until
ex-
they change it to it. Maybe he's a
yeah,
Skywalker because
it's
sometimes
a
people
no
start
it's a
off as
nobody until
nobodies.
they're related to somebody. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, yeah. I don't. I hope they do some explaining as to
Yeah.
exactly what he was because or it was or I, whatever you want to call it. I
Right.
don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
the green smoke stuff. I think I've missed something somewhere if that's been a thing before. Um,
I know that because I was looking at some stuff up on Rebels when I was looking for like just questions and stuff like that.
okay.
I know that the green smoke is consistent with the witches of Dathomir and stuff that they
Okay.
used to do. Like some of the spells that they would cast would come up in green smoke, so it's kind of consistent with that in a
Yeah, I'm
sense.
not as read up on that as I need to be.
Yeah. Do you think Merrick is coming back, or do you think this is the end of it? Because sometimes these Disney Plus shows are like that character's done.
Yeah, I hope if he don't come back, they at least address something about him instead of it just being, hey, he showed up, he
Hmm.
wielded another cool lightsaber, and he died quickly to Ahsoka, and
Yeah, and now he's just forgotten,
now he's
just
just a
like
character
Sabine's
that
stab wound.
nobody remembers that'll pop up in Fortnite next year.
Right, but he's another character. So one of the reasons why I wanted Darth Maul to be a three-movie villain is because his character design was so dope,
Yeah.
and Merrick's same situation. Some awesome costume designer worked on that,
Mm-hmm.
and it would be a shame if the Merrick if Merrick just disappeared and never came back. Because some characters just stick around because they look cool,
Yeah.
and he's one of those characters that can definitely do that. Of course, you want him to have a good story, but yeah,
Yeah.
I hope that he's not a throwaway character who just ends up not coming back.
I mean, if she did it once, if it was a Morgan thing, and I mean,
Right,
surely they can repair the suit and put the shove the green smoke back
the
in.
miss back. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you could put the genie back in a bottle, I
Or
guess.
maybe she rearranges them and turns smoke into Snoke, and then we've got our future
Smoke
villain.
in the Snoke is hilarious. First of all, that is very funny. That is very funny. All right, but now that we're done our bonus question, um,
Hmm.
let's get to Ahsoka versus Baylan. This
Now
fight,
here's a fight.
this fight was a fight.
Yep.
Just like you said, like I was like geeked up for it. I wasn't sure that it was going to happen in this particular episode because I'd never watched the previews for the next episode. I like to be surprised. So I'd never like I have no idea what's going to happen next episode. So when we do our predictions later, and someone's like, "Well, they showed in the trailer," I didn't see it. I can guarantee you that. Um, so yeah, so this fight was great because from the start, it felt like two heavyweights about to fight.
Hmm.
Right
Hmm.
when she walks up and he's sitting on that rock with his hood on, because he didn't have his hood on before, so he was like, "I know Ahsoka's coming. Let me get prepared, right? Let me suit up so when she comes, she knows she's dealing with a real one." So he put the hood on just to take it back off to show Ahsoka that he was about to flex on her.
Yep.
But yeah, what did you think about the fight?
Man, that was one of the best. I think it might be the best between that one and the Obi-Wan Vader fight, but of Disney
That was a good
Plus
fight. Yeah.
uh, fights we've seen. But what I really loved is even at the start of this fight where she took that samurai pose and he was up, here and she
Hmm.
was back here, and I don't
Two
know,
different
something about just
styles.
that standoff was really
Yeah.
cool to see.
Yeah. I really like. Uh, I think I complained last week just about Balin standing around and not doing anything. I mean, I like the character of Balin. I like the actor a lot. But it was more of he was always telling Shin to, hey, go get that thing, or telling Morgan, hey, we need to hurry up, please. But I never really saw him
Yeah.
like get into the act, except for the first episode, get into the action. and he still technically didn't go after anybody. He waited.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that this show has done both Ahsoka and this new character of Baylan justice by making their fight so damn interesting. Because it wasn't just a fight of lightsabers and stuff like that. It was also a fight of philosophy and belief. And
Yep.
because I genuinely believe that um, not only is Balin, who's clearly a former Jedi, because he
Yep.
mentioned that he used to be at the temple, he was aware of
Yep.
Anakin, and that Ahsoka asked Balin basically said that's a dumb question when Ahsoka said, "How did you know that I was an apprentice of?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, everybody knows Anakin, girl. Like, what are you talking about? We all know him." So, just having that conversation, so you know that he was a Jedi once, right? So
Yep. And
my
I think
point
you can
is,
tell that
mhm,
in some of your previous comment about letting them come to him, because that's very Master Jedi.
yes,
Uh,
yeah, that's a Jedi methodology for
yeah.
sure. But I think that the interesting part in it is that I don't think that he's just disillusioned with the light side of the Force or the Jedi. I also get this feeling that he feels the exact same way about the dark side. He's just not
I,
on either side. He's on
his
Balin and Shin's side.
his lightsaber's not all the way red.
What?
Look
Oh,
at
oh
his
yeah.
lightsaber. It
Okay.
looks pretty orange. It looks pretty orange. His and Shin's both. More so than
Interesting.
even in this episode, you could tell when Shin and Marrok were beside each other, his lightsaber looked a lot more red than hers did.
That's really interesting.
I mean,
I
maybe it's
didn't
just me.
consider that
Maybe
at
I'm
all.
throwing stuff out, but that's the appearance I'm
Yeah.
getting from it. Is it's more like a dark orange than it is the red color that Marrok's was.
Yeah. I got to go back and watch it then because, like I said, I've only seen the episode once. It was like something o'clock in the morning. So yeah, because I got home at like midnight last night. Well, actually past midnight. But anyway, so one of the things that oh yeah, so the fight was awesome. Like it just just like I was saying earlier about the importance of good villains, it's important that you, as the viewer, believe that the villain can actually beat the protagonist, the person who you're rooting for. Because if you don't think that that villain can actually beat them, it becomes a lot less interesting. I believe, when Ahsoka's fighting Balin, I know that she's going to win because the show is called Ahsoka. I believe that she could die. And I believe several points in this during this fight, I'm like, she's in trouble. Because he
Yeah,
not only was he a better, I don't want to say a better swordsman or lightsabersman than Ahsoka. I don't think he was like necessarily better in that fashion, but he was clearly physically more imposing than her. He was
yeah,
clearly stronger because a lot of it, he just manhandled her, and in ways that I hadn't seen Ahsoka manhandle before.
yeah. That one point when he grabbed her and threw her, like
Yeah,
it was like, oh, oh, she's in trouble.
yep, absolutely. And also, so I have a quick question. I don't know how much you've considered this at all, but I'm wondering why Ahsoka, for the majority of this episode, only used one of her lightsabers.
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
Yeah, I
Um,
was kind of taken aback.
I kept waiting for her to bring the second one out midway through the
Right.
fight, and yeah, it just never
So
happened.
I'm wondering if there was like a writing thing where it's like, yeah, it symbolizes that it was just her solo against the world and that she couldn't uh trust her second in command, her second lightsaber, which was Sabine. Like, I don't know. I'm making that up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
yeah. So yeah, I'm really just like dumbfounded at her only using one because this isn't a situation that you need to be playing with. Everybody in this in on this island or whatever it is very clear on this is it. Like, this is the big deal. And you're only using one of your lightsabers. This might be one of those small, like, Star Wars fans, dude, why are you harping on this very small detail? But it seems like if this is for all the marbles, you want to use everything at your disposal.
You would think.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know. Maybe her and Sabine had some plan for her to lose and Sabine to get captured, and we're gonna find that out later or something.
right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um, yeah, so we've already covered So yeah, so actually leading like after this fight, let's talk about what is Balin really after. Um, because right now, like he sees that he's said multiple times to Shin that he's after absolute power, power that you've never seen before. Do you think that that power is supposed to be coming from Thrawn? Because it doesn't seem like Balin would be like, I'm going to submit myself to Thrawn. Because Thrawn, at the end of the day, as incredibly intelligent and cerebral and a killer that he really is, he doesn't seem like someone that a Force user, a Sith, or a Jedi would submit themselves to.
Yeah,
He's a brilliant military strategist. He's not someone who unless I miss something is infused with like some kind of light side dark side religious kind of thing. So I don't believe that he's after Thrawn for the purposes of putting Thrawn on, or for the purposes of actually submitting to Thrawn. I think there's something else there.
yeah. There's more going on with Balin that we're not getting or seeing yet. That he's
Yeah.
got another ulterior motive we're not figuring out.
Hmm.
Maybe this other galaxy or universe they're going to. Maybe there's different ways of using the Force than he's expecting. Once he gets there, he can. I'm making stuff up. I don't know what's
No,
gonna
for sure.
happen.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
just,
just theorizing for
I,
sure. Yeah.
but maybe there's something he knows about we don't know yet, and we'll find out once they
Hmm.
arrive at their destination.
Yeah. Yeah. So like you said, we're just theorizing. I have no idea. I just find his character so interesting, and I find the fact that he has an apprentice so interesting. Because one of the things I was wondering about is what is their obviously their relationship is master and Padawan, but the Sith idea of having a Padawan or an apprentice interests me in this way. Sith are typically after absolute power, right? They want to take over the universe. They want to bring what they believe is order to the universe. I've always like the Emperor had Darth Vader as his strong arm, as the person he could
Hmm.
send out to smash things. He was basically a big hammer for the Emperor. Vader was. Why would a Sith master take on an apprentice? To what end? Like I've always wondered that because we know why the Jedi do it to continue the line of the
Yeah,
Jedi and put more Force cops around around the universe to like help keep things in balance. But the Siths, like, what is the philosophy behind a Sith actually taking on an apprentice? I've always wondered that. So that's why I'm wondering about Shin and
Shin. Yeah,
Balin's relationship. What is Shin after? Like, what is she there for?
yeah. That's a good question. I'm I'm at a loss for words on that one.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. But yeah, because those are questions that need to be,
Still need to
hopefully
be
answered.
addressed, and yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
sometime
it'd be
down the
nice.
line.
I just I don't know. And one part of me wants there to be some type of a flashback episode, but at the same time, I'm like, no, no, no. I don't want to get away from this story. I want to
I was
continue the
literally
story.
thinking the
So
same thing. Yeah,
yeah,
I was literally thinking the same thing.
but
And
I
I
would
think,
like to see the backstory of Shin and Balin and exactly how they got together, what their story
yeah.
is.
And you know what's interesting about that? I think, and we'll get into predictions later on of what episode 5 will be. But I think that I don't think they're going to spend the entire time on Anakin and Ahsoka. So I think
No.
that this will be the perfect time to intercut between a conversation with Balin and Shin. They're on the ship. They're taking a ride to the other side of the universe. This is the perfect Hera. Hera is dealing with um, just kind of just being stuck out there, and probably at the end of the episode, she'll find wherever Ahsoka is physically on that planet. This is
Yeah.
a good time to explore the Shin and Balin relationship, and maybe Sabine will be explored too between the three of them. But this is a good
Hmm.
time to actually answer those questions because we're going to set up. You know what? Because Star Wars loves parallels, we might have master and apprentice conversation with master and apprentice conversation between Anakin and Ahsoka and Balin and Shin, so we can get to know both of them. Because a
Yeah.
lot of times in writing, they like to parallel these things. So, Yeah,
Or they could go on with the episode, not give us any of that, and then 2 years from now give us an episode of Tales of the Jedi that explains everything.
Tales of the Jedi is good.
It is. I'm just
I
saying,
really
like
like to. Yeah, yeah,
that,
yeah. I mean, that's totally possible for sure. Yeah. I
they
just
just
want to
put
give a
us
shout
off
out
and give it to us later.
to Jason Entertainment real quick. Yo, what's up, man? It's great to see you in the stream. Thanks so much for joining us. Jason Entertainment has a great YouTube channel. I know he's putting out a video tonight. Um, Jason, let us know if you've already put it out and what it's called. But yeah, everybody should definitely go to Jason Entertainment's page. He puts out dope content. Yeah, and subscribe to his page as well. I want to also say the same thing for Press and Reviews. He also puts out dope content. Zach Attacks reviews. He just put out a trailer reaction for Godzilla as well as Ferrari. So those are two things that you guys should check out. Oh yeah, and Zach Attack Reviews is doing a live stream watch along for The Little Mermaid with Haley Bailey tonight, right after this, because we're going to try to. Oh, it might be going on right now, actually.
I think it
Uh,
just
I,
started. Yep.
I think it just started. Yeah, so we'll be going a little bit more past that, but yeah, Zach Attacks Reviews is having his stream for that watch along right now.
The next guy in the comments too. We can't forget him.
Oh, the Cosmic Broadcast? That's my
Yeah.
guy.
You
The
gotta give him a
CB?
shout out too.
Yeah, the Cosmic Broadcast is. I don't know if you put it out yet, Cosmic Broadcast, but he's working on a ranking of all the Marvel movies, all the MCU movies. I believe that that'll be out shortly, but what TCB or the Cosmic Broadcast said was that he's been working on that edit for months, and I understand because editing takes a long time. Yeah, but
That
yeah, so
comment,
shout
man.
out to you, man. Yeah,
That
was it?
Sam Witwer. I was hoping for the Sam Witwer thing too. I knew it was a long shot, but
So here's the thing. I don't know who Sam Witwer is. Who?
that would have been Starkiller.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so
That's
I'm
a
like iffy on the video games. I'm
yeah.
actually
I
stuck
had
on the
I got a
boss.
picture with
Yeah.
Sam earlier this year, and I was ready to
Oh,
just like start
nice.
sharing it everywhere with people, and like,
Yeah,
hey,
put
look,
it
I
in
got my
the
yeah.
your community chat. I definitely want to see that. Yeah. Oh yeah. So Cosmo Broadcast says he's finishing up tonight. Should be out tomorrow. If copyright
Awesome.
can. Oh, copyright. We've heard a lot of copyright issues lately, especially with a giant uh, 6 story, 8 story monster. Uh, Toei Entertainment has been striking people down for putting up Godzilla reactions. So yeah, somehow mine's made it
Yeah.
through, but a lot of other people have had issues. I don't. I'm not special, so I don't know
Luckily, all I
why
did
mine
was
was
a
different.
short with some images, so I didn't have anything to worry about. I was
Yeah,
like,
actually, the funny thing is, so I made the trailer reaction for Godzilla minus one, and then I made it
hmm
short from that trailer reaction. The short got blocked, but the full trailer reaction got accepted. So I don't know what's happening with that, but yeah, yeah. We also had Jason Entertainment. Thank you so much for the shout out, bro. I put a video about me predicting the South American qualifiers for the football FIFA World Cup 2026, USA, Mexico, and Canada. Dope. That's actually coming to Philly.
Okay.
I'm from Philadelphia. I live in Philadelphia, West Philadelphia, born, not raised. And I did
Oh,
spend most of my days on the playground. But yeah, so that's awesome, man. Jason also puts out football content as well, or soccer in these parts. But we'll respect Jason's use of the word football, even though football starts tomorrow with the Chiefs and the Lions. But and this is not a promo for the NFL, but I'll be watching. Uh, okay, so we also Jason Entertainment said what was stressing and crazy is that I did it in Spanish and I tried to put it in. I'm sorry. What I can just read it on the big screen. What was stressing and crazy is that I did it in Spanish and tried to put a good intro for the continent. I covered the African qualifiers already, so I wanted to do every continent. That's awesome, man. Like that's pretty dope because there's so much to consider with different continents and different competitions and like the qualifier. Yeah, yeah, it's a lot. My first World Series that I've ever watched was this past one. Um, the past one where Messi just won. So yeah, that was because I actually just became a soccer fan. I want to say last summer. Yeah, I'm a Tottenham Spurs fan in the Premier League, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, so Cosm Broadcast says not Star Wars related, but as a Philly fan, where is James Harden going to end up?
Just
Hopefully
stay
not
out of
here.
Dallas. Just stay out of
Um,
Dallas.
he can't go to Dallas. They've
Leave
already got
leave my
Kyrie.
Mavericks alone.
They got Kyrie. They got Luca.
Yeah,
Having
we
James
good. We
Harden,
good. Leave
that's
us
just
alone.
a recipe for disaster. If I
It
had my
really.
guess, I know that there was rumors about him going to the Clippers, uh, possibly. So that's possible, I guess. So I don't know. I just don't want him here anymore because he doesn't want to be here anymore. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get to these last
That's.
two, and then we're going to get back to some Star Wars. Um, Jason Entertainment says because I watched that much soccer slash football, I know it's really, I know it's not really movie related, but yeah, I do sometime some other topics. I mean, and that's great. Like it's good to diversify your portfolio in terms of what you can give people. So that's really cool. And Jason said, "Okay, Spurs fans, same here, same here. You love Sonny Kane. So if you look right where my finger's pointing, you'll see Sonny right there. So yes, big time Spurs fan. But yeah, so let's get back to some Star Wars stuff. These are like our last few topics, or
Okay.
our last two topics, I should say. And of course, we know what the last topic is going to be. We have Hera versus Morgan in the Ring of Doom. So I
Is that a
don't
fight?
remember. It didn't seem to
Okay.
be a fight because it seemed like Hera showed up and Morgan took the big ring Mack truck and just smashed her on the way to where they were going. But Morgan is also another character I'm really interested in knowing what her motivations are.
Man.
Because we know that
We,
these people are trying to get to Thrawn to start this war, but we don't know what each individual person is trying to get out of that situation. Because again, just like Baylan, I don't think that she's going there just to submit herself to Thrawn for the sake of submitting herself to Thrawn.
yeah. Yeah. As little as we've gotten of Shin and Balin, as far as story dynamic goes, I still feel like we've gotten to know their characters a little bit.
Right,
Morgan is somebody that's still, and we had seen her way before we saw. I mean, we saw her in Mandalorian season 2, but
right.
even with her, we still have not really learned much. And
Yeah,
until this episode, I didn't find her that menacing. But there was something about when they talked about the ships being in front of them, and she's just like, ignore them or blow through them, whatever it was she said. I can't remember the
yeah.
exact
Which
phrase. I was
was
just like, whoa.
yeah, yeah. He's like, I don't care.
This,
Like
yeah.
run him over.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, all right, I see you.
So Morgan is interesting because, like, just like you said, we don't know much about her. At the same time, I have a little bit of beef with Morgan, not Morgan herself, but the writers of Morgan's character. When I was doing my rant earlier, I put that video out earlier today. Star Wars fan does a crazy rant or something like that. I was trying to
Hmm.
remember her name, and for the life of me, I couldn't. And I figured out why I couldn't remember her name. Is because out of all the Star Wars characters that exist, she has the most basic and normal name of anybody. I was
That's
really
true.
like, what is her name? I was like, it's, I couldn't think because when you have Baylan and Shin and Huyang and Ahsoka and Sabine and Obi Wan
Yeah,
Kenobi, and then you
yeah,
have
and Luke and
Morgan.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah, it's like I don't. Of course, I don't remember her name. Yeah,
no,
so it's yeah. I don't know.
there are very
She's a
few
former
basic
witch.
names. In,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you could say Ezra, but I don't even consider Ezra a basic name because whenever you hear someone's name Ezra, it's like, oh, your name Ezra. Okay, that's an awesome name. You don't really. It's like you just hear somebody's name is Morgan. He's like, oh, okay, cool, cool, cool. I'm Ken. That's
yeah,
the end of the conversation. But but yeah, so Morgan, I'm curious to know what her motivations are as well. But yeah, like you said, this wasn't really a fight. This was just Syndulla and the rest of them just getting
yeah.
run over.
This was more me going. No, no, no! Don't kill Carson! Don't kill Carson! Don't kill Carson! The
Yes,
whole time was like,
yeah, yeah. Because when the ship started flying or like crashing into each other, I was like,
uh
please
huh,
spare more,
yeah,
spare Carson. But yeah, and of course you knew that Hera wasn't going to die. If she
Yeah.
did, that would be crazy.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I do like Hera. I mean, I'd be okay with like one of their ships crashing down and killing Sabine on accident or something, but
you can leave Sabine alone. Okay, she's doing the best you can with as little training as she can. We
oh,
talked about
okay.
last week how whatever training she got beforehand, when she was apparently Ahsoka's Padawan, clearly wasn't much because she still needed to be taught what the Force was and how to use and do the blind training thing. She apparently hadn't done that before, even though she was Ahsoka's apprentice. So she's not working with a full deck here. All right, DJ.
Something's not right with her.
Yeah,
I mean, let's just put her out of her misery. Let's just go.
right. Well, maybe if she does turn into the dark side, it'll be like a Green Ranger thing. You know, when Tommy.
I hope we're halfway through this season. I hope by the end of this season that Sabine is my favorite character.
Yeah.
But right now,
So yeah, before we get to the big one, let's read these last couple comments, and then we'll end it after the we'll do Ahsoka and Anakin, and then we'll do some predictions, and we'll get out of here and go join some mermaid stuff.
yeah,
So
scuttlebutt.
okay, so Sunny is dope. Always back to anyways, back to Star Wars, enjoying it so much so far, and I know everyone is going crazy for Anakin, which I love it too. But the moment I see Ezra, I will lose it. Hell yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. And I think one of the things about seeing Ezra will be it'll be the first time we see him live action. I mean, we saw him, his little
Hologram.
hologram, but just seeing Ezra in person, and I wonder what his first words will be. I wonder if they're going to do the classic the character shows up at the end of the episode and says, "What's up?" and then they go to black. Because
Hmm.
they seem to do that all the time whenever we know a character's coming up. Remember
Yeah, they could do that in the
episode?
finale at the very end.
I swear, I swear on my dog Bruno, my dog named Bruno D'Angelo Sparks. I swear if they do that, I'm going to crack my TV screen. I'm not because I'm not that type of person, but in my mind, I would have considered it. Um, Cosmic Broadcast says Morgan is basically the John Smith of Star Wars. Yes,
Ooh.
absolutely, the John Smith
My
of Star Wars
my
names for
brother's
sure.
name is literally John Smith.
Oh,
Now I'm gonna have to next time I talk to my brother, I'm gonna be like, "Yo, Morgan, what's up?"
that's hilarious.
He ain't gonna
Um,
have a clue.
the fight was basically hyperspace ring go burr. Yes, 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 it was. Just stick that hyperspace ring right on him. I've seen wet paper towels with more charisma than the actress who plays Sabine. Might be
Oh,
bad direction combined with the acting. Who knows? All right, all right. We're not going to jump Sabine here, okay? She's doing the actress is doing what she can. They told her to be a brat and to just prattle around and be weak for some reason. Sabine in the cartoon in the Rebels cartoon is a badass. So I don't know what happened, but she was never this annoying, basically, or weak, as a matter of fact. So I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know what they're doing, but I don't blame the actress. I think that she's doing a fine job at you know
Yeah, I think
playing the
most of this is
character that they wrote for
the
her.
way it's written.
Yeah, because she could be a total badass. How much more interesting would this show be if she did? How much more interesting would the show be if she was trained like a Jedi and then was fighting Shin, and then you have uh, a, a dope a dope fighter in Sabine versus Shin, and also another dope fight in uh, Ahsoka versus Baylan. It would be very similar vibes to Yoda versus Palpatine and Anakin versus Obi Wan.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be less interesting if Obi Wan was getting washed every time he came up with Palpatine? Granted, he ran away for and exiled himself for some reason, but
yeah,
yeah, it'd be much more interesting if Sabine was a badass still.
yeah. It would be,
Yeah.
but this is what Disney Plus Star Wars does. I mean, Boba Fett went from the coolest
Ooh.
character in Star Wars to I am Boba Fett,
Oh my God, I am
having to
Boba
announce
Fett
his name everywhere he goes. I
everywhere he
mean,
goes.
I don't.
Takes his helmet off,
Yep.
puts it back on, takes it off this way, holds it. Someone blows up the building he's in. They have to
Yep.
rescue him, save him, put him in the back to tank. He comes back out, tells these people, "I'm the boss. I'm Boba Fett. Weren't you just blown up outside? Didn't we have to rescue you? I don't
Yeah.
recall you being. Who told you were the? Because you have a because you sat in Big Slug Worm's chair. I forget his name. Jabba's chair. Because you sat in Jabba's chair. You were supposed to believe you're a badass. Man, you spend half your time in the back to tank. So anyway, that
Yep.
is yeah
So that's par
yeah
for the
I
course. I mean,
yeah par for the course for sure. Um, Ken is Ken is a Sabine stan. Noted. I'm not a Sabine stan. I just don't like the fact that y'all are jumping her right now in the comments and on the live. I just want by the end of the episode, maybe she's a badass. Who knows? We got
oh
four
man,
episodes left.
we're
Maybe
not
there's a
done with this
time
yet.
jump and she's a full Jedi. Who knows? We don't know what's going to happen. Maybe she trains Jace to be a Jedi after him. So after her. So
I'd be
these
down
things
for
could
that.
happen. Yeah. So Jason Entertainment says the thing that I feel weird so far is that I thought the gang would be together for the whole time, but they are not
Mm.
yet. We are missing Zeb and Kalas. Would love to see Hondo too. I agree with that, and I disagree with that at the same time. Um, I can understand why people would want the whole gang together. I certainly do. The show is called Ahsoka though, so it is kind of like even though people have said yeah this is Rebel season 5, if it was called Rebels live action or whatever, or Rebels Return of Thrawn and Ezra, which is a very long title, um, or Rebels the Return. There you go, shorten it. I could definitely understand there being more of a mandate for those other characters to be here. At the same time, Jason Entertainment, I totally get it because what is Zeb doing right now? I would think Hera would have called Zeb already. So
And didn't we see him?
we saw him in Mando,
Yeah,
season 3,
with Carson, right?
with Carson,
Yeah, yeah.
with
So
Carson Palmer. Like
you
he was
you would think,
right. I don't know why I say Carson Palmer with him. Like he
bro.
was right,
These
or
comments.
Carson Wentz, or someone else. But anyway,
Carson Wentz.
oops. Okay, so
Oh man.
although I want to blame the actress, although I won't blame the actress, but I will admit that for now, Sabine is my least favorite character, and that's weird since in Rebels she's just awesome. Totally agree. I, yeah, we've been saying that all night because it's true, and I just yeah. And correct me, DJ, you haven't seen Rebels, right?
I have seen maybe 3 to 4 episodes total mixed up, not together.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah,
I mean, I'm familiar with some of the characters. I don't
right.
know their arcs. I don't know backstory. I don't know a lot of it.
No, yeah. So yeah, you're seeing Diet Sabine right now, basically.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. That's
uh,
what I'm
yeah, because
figuring out.
Rebels is a show. When a show ends and it's one of those I'm going to miss these characters. Rebels was that show for me. I was like, man,
Okay.
I'm really gonna. I cried in the final episode. I cried a lot during that final season. That was it was very emotional time. But
Okay.
all Sabine can teach Jason is how to get stabbed because that's all she's done of note so far. Hey, listen, okay, she wasn't trained properly, and then she just pulled out a lightsaber. She should have stuck to her guns, no pun intended, and not pulled out the lightsaber at all. I don't know why she did that if she wasn't trained. Why is she pulling out a lightsaber that she knows she's not trained with? Anyway, so I guess that leads to your point, DJ. But yeah, sorry. So let's get to these last few, which are, of course, Ahsoka and Anakin Skywalker. Ahsoka Tano and Anakin Skywalker. Did you
You,
watch
you,
any of Clone Wars?
so yes, I did watch most of Clone Wars. I'd never got to watch the that last season they put out a few years ago. That final season, I never did get a chance to see it. But most of Clone Wars I've seen,
Gotcha. That
including the
final
god
season
awful
is
movie.
really good. Did you say the awful movie, the one
And
before
yeah, yeah,
with that
including that awful movie. The movie where
Gendy Jaroskovsky?
d-
I'm pronouncing his
yeah,
name
I don't remember.
terribly. Um, yeah, Yeah.
That was the movie that made me
Actually,
think I was gonna hate the Ahsoka character.
oh
So
wait, no, you're talking about something else. You're talking about that movie. Yeah, that was
yeah,
bad.
yeah,
That
yeah.
was that was bad. She wasn't Ahsoka wasn't my favorite character when she first started. However, I watched the show. I want to say I watched Clone Wars maybe 3 to 4 years ago when I
Okay.
first started and finished it. Actually, I can't even claim that because I skipped all of the filler. Someone did me a solid and actually sent me a document of chronological order, number one, and number two, where all the Jar Jar Binks and droid episodes were, so I could skip them all.
You
Because
oh
I
oh
let me tell you
oh
something. Let me tell you something right
oh.
now. The last person I want to see is Jar Jar Binks, a Jar Jar Binks episode
I
or a
love
droid
me some Jar
episode.
Jar Binks. I love Jar Jar Binks.
I have never heard a human say that in my entire life. I have never heard that.
My Jar
I
Jar.
have never
Jar Jar.
heard someone say that they love Jar Jar Binks in my entire life. That is a new one. And I don't
Man.
fault you for it because you love who you love. Love who you love, ladies and
Yeah, I
gentlemen.
mean, I also love
Okay?
Yamcha and
Love who
Dragon
you
Ball, so
love.
you already know I'm a little backwards.
Oh yeah, and you love Yamcha. Man, we have a lot of therapy to get to because we need to
Hey,
figure out.
so my wife's favorite episodes are the ones with a lot of droids. She will walk around this house right now and she'll just be like Roger, 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 Roger all over the place. So that's
See, and that, but I don't have the problem with the Roger Roger. I don't have the problem with those droids. It's just don't give me a droid centric episode. I want to move this plot along. I want someone died last episode. Can we get back to that? It's you know what? Since you mentioned Yamcha, it's the Dragon Ball Z problem. Frieza and Goku are about to throw hands, and then that's my guy. Is that Yamcha
it
or
is. That is the dead laying down here. Is this angle better for you?
yeah? I mean, it's the Yamcha angle we're used to. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
make my eyes small at you. I squint at you in disappointment of your Yamcha love. But but yeah.
I
So
got I got more. I got more Yamcha. I got it all.
that's wild. But that's actually really cool too. Like
Yeah, you
it's
didn't know they had
cooler.
figures for Yamcha, did you?
I honestly would have thought that they would have just skipped production on that and saved some money. But
They had to
I guess
sell
you
it
got
to
to
you.
have the complete collection, and he has to be a part of it. So, but yeah. But I also love the fact that you love Yamcha. I also love the fact that you love Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar Binks. I can't say that I can sympathize with you on that, but it is cool. It
Most
makes you
people can't.
unique. It makes you unique. So here's what we need to do. We need to have a Yamcha series on your channel. On Movie Time Minutes, we need to have a Yamcha time. Why Yamcha is the best character in Dragon Ball Z.
It
That
will
is a
get
video
zero
that you should
views.
make.
It will
Oh,
get
I'm
zero
telling you, it
views.
will get a lot of views because people will wonder why you believe this. People will be like, I don't what? Click. Like, what is going on here? I think you'll get a lot more views than you think. Um,
Jason, that was me in that.
yeah, so Jason says someone in Spoiler Kings Live last time said they have a Yamcha Funko Pop when he's dead. That would
That
actually happen to
that
be
was
DJ. That's
yeah, that was
that's
me that
DJ.
told
Yep.
them that. Yep.
Yeah. And DJ is loud and proud about his Yamcha love, and he won't be shamed for it. I'm tired of y'all shaming him for his Yamcha and Jar Jar love. Okay, so let's and the Sabine hate. Can we add that in? Let's curb the Sabine hate, curb the Yamcha hate, and curb the your enthusiasm, no, and curb the Jar Jar hate. Which personally, I'm not going to curb any of those things, but I want the community as a whole to not look at Jason, to not look at DJ like he's someone who has something wrong with him. All of us love characters that no one else loves. Okay, so relax. All right. Anyway, so what were we even talking about? We were
I
supposed to be
don't even
getting to
know. We've
Anakin
we've
and
lost it.
Ahsoka.
Anakin Ahsoka. Yeah, we're way off track.
All right, us get to that real quick. So Ahsoka wakes up. Ahsoka's knocked off the side of the building because she's only using one lightsaber for God knows why. So she's knocked off the side of the building, and she wakes up in the world between worlds. Now I know you said that you haven't watched a lot of Rebels. Are you familiar with this at all?
So what I know about World Between Worlds is what you sent me earlier to watch about it.
Yo, what's
So,
funny is I actually regretted sending that to you because I was like,
oh
man, there's
yeah.
a ton of spoilers in here.
Hmm. Well, that's okay. I don't mind that kind of stuff. But yeah, I didn't know much, and that's another one of the gripes I was gonna have if you hadn't have sent me that because I knew nothing about what was happening in that scene.
Yeah,
I felt lost. I thought, okay, am I supposed to know where she's at and what's going on, or
right.
am I supposed to wait till next episode to find that out, or is this something I
Next
should
time.
have watched Rebels for, or so
Yeah,
I felt kind of sidelined at that scene, so it kind of took me out of the whole reveal there because I was just like, oh, okay. I mean,
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if you don't have any
what's
like
happening here?
prior knowledge of like what's happening, that totally makes sense. Um, one second here. That's weird. Anyway, that totally makes sense. As to why it wasn't be as impactful. But did you feel impacted just by the fact that Anakin was there in the first place?
Yeah, I mean that was cool. I mean we did just get that in Obi-Wan um,
That's true. I
a
mean, but
little bit.
he was
It was a
live and well.
flashback.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah,
Yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. We
Yeah.
got we got the.
So, mhm,
So I mean, it's not like we haven't seen Anakin fairly recently on TV or in Star
that's
Wars.
a true statement. That is very true.
Um, but I mean,
Yeah,
it was still exciting. I mean, it's always exciting to see old character come back, get some nostalgia berries.
absolutely. See, nostalgia berries are good. It's a good part of the entertainment diet that we need to continue to put into our. I can't keep up with this analogy. Anyway, so I was excited. I was ecstatic for this. Like I said earlier in the live, I don't watch the episode previews, so I don't know if that was a part of it. But for me, it was a big moment because seeing them together again, especially seeing Ahsoka in live action, and then seeing Anakin back again, like it's really cool because part of the reason why it's so cool is because all the stuff with Ahsoka and Anakin, I'm trying to think of a good term for it. It didn't happen like off screen, but it happened off movie. So it's not discounted necessarily, but the general public who have not watched Clone Wars, who have not watched Rebels, don't really have a good grasp of what this relationship is. So I love the fact that this kind of brings it full circle because there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be like, wait, Anakin had a Padawan? And then we get
Yeah,
to talk about these different things and stuff like that. But for me, it was great. Just, it's, you know what it's similar to? To me, it's similar to Endgame, where Cat picks up that hammer, and I know that that was a huge moment, right? But it's the same as like I never thought I would see this a day in my life. More than like the capping up the hammer, but the run for both armies. I'm looking at
yeah,
that and looking at every character that we've seen throughout this entire run of the MCU, and I'm saying I'm I literally had a tear fall. I was like, oh my god, it's beautiful. I cannot believe what I'm seeing right now, right? This to me is very similar because she was she was animated. I never thought that I would see Ahsoka not only in live action, but in live action with Hayden Christensen or
yeah,
with Anakin, right? So that's why
yeah.
for me it was just we haven't even gotten to the real meat and potatoes or the content of it, right? So yeah, and as what we know about the world between worlds from that video I sent you, and also watched myself because I watched it for the first time too, over and over again because I was trying to set up and listen to it at the same time, and I just couldn't. Um, what we essentially learned from that was that the world between worlds is some kind. It's similar to if you've seen everything everywhere all at once. There's the space time continuum thing where the donut is, and then there's all the other worlds and stuff that you can go to. Dave Filoni explained it as it's time travel, but it's not. It's real, but it's not. It might be real. I'm gonna leave it up to you. So he didn't really give us much of anything there, but but you can impact the real world by decisions that you make in there. But more than that, this was a place where yes, more than that, this was a place where just every this was a place where Ezra and Ahsoka had to make some real decisions. I believe actually just Ezra had to make some real decisions about how he was going to like change the course of history or not. If whether or not he was going to, in a sense, be selfish and just change. I forget specifically what the conflict was. Someone in the chat can definitely tell us. Um, I think it had something to do with Canaan, or something. That, honestly, I can't remember. But yeah, but my thing is seeing them there was awesome, and I cannot wait until next week. Similar to what we said about Dragon Ball Z, I'm really hoping that they don't get us to the Frieza and Goku fight right before they're about to punch each other, and start the next episode with Yamcha trying to like collect some berries. Because if you remember Dragon Ball Z, they often did that. They would end the
Yeah.
episode with somebody about to punch somebody, and the next episode would start with Chi Chi in their garden. It's like, what's happening? Get back to the thing. And then we wouldn't
Yep.
get to it for like 3 episodes. I don't think that's going to happen to that drastic ness here, but yeah, yeah. Anything else about just, oh, you said there's not much to really go on there.
Yeah. I don't
Mm,
have a lot to comment on that particular aspect
gotcha.
outside of what I said. So
I hear you. All right.
at least until we see next episode.
Next time on Ahsoka Ball Z. Um, so let's
Let's do
get
that collaboration. I want that movie
right. Super
animated.
Saiyan
Let's not
Ahsoka.
do it. Yeah, let's do it animated. Let's not do any live action
So
Dragon Ball again.
if Ahsoka was to turn into a Super Saiyan with her head tails thing turn gold, how would
Uh,
that work? She does. Is she bald? Is Ahsoka bald?
I don't. I don't. I don't.
Because it's not hair. We know that. Is is
I.
Hera bald?
I don't.
Anyway,
I don't. I
these
don't
are
want to alien
questions.
shame. I don't.
No, I'm not shaming that. Like, be bald. Do what you want. I'm just yeah. It's just it's a question. Anyway, um, let's get to some of these comments and then we'll get to predictions and then we'll wrap it up. Da, 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 da. Oh yeah. So Jason Entertainment said, oh my god, wow, oh my god, it's you, wow, DJ, you are awesome, man. You're awesome because you love Jar Jar and Yamcha. You have a fan, man. That's awesome. Someone is on your side. I'm
Someone.
not, but someone is. Okay. Ken's issue
I.
with the droids episode of Clone Wars is my current issue with Ahsoka. I have little to no investment in Rebels and want to get straight to Ahsoka stuff, staying open minded though. I mean, I kind of feel like they've been doing mostly Ahsoka stuff, right? Because like we talked about before, Zeb and the other gentlemen are not really a part of the show. It's really just well, I mean, if you want to count Sabine, I guess that also. If you, I think what TCB is saying is that stop with the Sabine stuff and with all the other political drama and stuff like that. Let's just focus on Sabine, which I don't have a problem with either. But yeah, I definitely get that. Jason Entertainment said a bit out of subject. I don't know DJ if you play Fighter Z, but I was so glad that Yamcha is in that game and he was my main. Wow, lots of Yamcha love here. Every time I played, every time I played Yamcha, crazy because I've been a huge, I've never been huge on Yamcha. So we have a Yamcha collective here, and that's what this stream is about. It's about
This.
bringing people together
This is what I bring
for
to
a
your
common
stream.
interest.
Yeah. This is how I contribute. I bring the.
Bring the
Uh,
Yamchas,
oh man.
bring the Cha Cha fans. Uh,
Yes, I played Fighter Z. I love playing as him in those games or in that game.
awesome. Everything Everywhere All at Once reference. That's because it's the one of the best movies of all time. Zack Attack. It's Zack
Hmm.
Attack's favorite movie, if I remember correctly, and it deserved every award that it got. Well, almost every award
Wait a minute. When did he
because
send that in? He should be in his stream right now, shouldn't
it should. uh, Almost every award because someone named Queen Ramonda was robbed. But that's a story for another day.
he? Hmm.
Yeah, because
Hmm.
yes.
No, no Jamie Lee
Anyway,
Curtis love there.
she was barely in the movie. See, now you got me on it. She was barely in the movie. All she did was taxes. She didn't even any actress could have played that role. Stephanie Sue, or yeah, Stephanie Sue was also nominated for
Yep.
Best Supporting Actress.
Yep.
If anybody should have won for Everything Everywhere All at Once, it should have been her. I don't understand
Yeah.
how you
I
play the
I
least.
agreed
You
with the
show up at the
nomination for
end.
Jamie, but I didn't agree with the win.
I, I don't even agree with the nomination if I'm being honest with you,
Really? You
because
you
that
got somebody you would have put over her in that?
yeah, Stephanie Sue and
Well, no, no, but she was nominated though. I'm
put
saying
in.
as far as the
Oh yeah,
nominations go.
no, I don't. I can't think about it off the top of my head. But yeah,
Oh,
Jamie Lee Curtis is an incredible actress. I have no beef with her, but
yeah,
she
I
played
understand.
the tax collector that showed up at the beginning and end of the movie. She had a little role. She had a somewhat of a role in the middle, but she's the least important main character in that film.
Yeah.
She's just there to be the conflict that the family has to go up against outside of the big conflict. Yeah, it's like yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm off my soapbox now. Anyway, so definitely great to see Hayden back though. Hopefully, he adds some emotional punch to the next episode. I totally agree. One of the most interesting thing about the Hayden Christensen love that I feel like is warranted is that I hated him not as a human being. I hated his performance, I should say, in Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. He was the worst person on screen. And he was so bad. And he was much better in Episode 3. And also, hot take Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones is one of the worst movies in history. Not the history of Star Wars, one of the worst movies in history, period. It's so bad.
Do you know why it was bad?
I don't, but I mean, there,
There,
there. I mean, I can detail you many reasons why
I,
it's bad.
I,
But
I can
so,
give you the one reason.
what's it?
Not enough Jar Jar.
See, I knew you were going to say that. At first, I was like, he's going to say not enough Yamcha, but I was like, that doesn't make sense. Oh, you know what? It's Jar Jar. But
Not enough Jar Jar.
yeah, have you ever seen those theories that Jar Jar's a Sith Lord?
I have. Yeah.
Those are
Yeah.
actually some of my favorite theories because it's so ridiculous that I would actually wouldn't mind it happening. But all right, so Jason Entertainment says he's awesome because he's not afraid of saying that he loves them. But yeah, Yamcha was an OG. He was something. He was around, that's for sure. He's the sixth man on the bench. He's at the end of the bench, as a matter of fact. Anyway, um, Meow Mix, aka my wife, says 100. I know that that means she agrees with something. She agrees with everything I say and do. So I know, like, this is just par
Wow.
for the course. Like, my marriage is just a long stream of agreement, right? No conflict. There's no
Hmm.
conflict in there's,
Hmm.
there's no
We
conflict
got
in this
we
marriage.
got some lie detector tests in here somewhere we can hook up to this man.
Jason and Ten said, "Damn that statement. I admit I love more than Phantom Menace than I love more Phantom Menace than Attack of the Clones." I totally agree with that, but I watched Phantom Menace not too long ago. That movie is not good at all, except
It's
for
not good.
Darth Maul. He like the weirdest thing about Phantom Menace is the beginning of the movie has zero tone. It's toneless. There's no score that like impacts like how you feel about what's going on. Is for a long time in the Gungan City, it's really just like a silent ride, and it's just like
Hmm.
there's no emotion, there's no act. It's like everybody's wooden in it, and I know the theory is that George Lucas is really good at writing stories, but not really good at getting performances out of actors.
He's not an actor
I'm half and
director.
half on that, but you know,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm sorry.
Here
Hold on
here
for me
in
1 second, because
yep.
ser- all right. Hello. Sorry, Siri started interrupting this thing because apparently it thinks I want to have a conversation with him.
Oh, oh,
Okay, here we go. All right. So yeah, did you hear anything I said?
I was hearing you.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so apparently that is the book on um George Lucas. That he's really good at creating stories and storylines and like just despite how poor the prequel movies were, and that's of course an opinion, the
Hmm.
structure of them getting Palpatine from where he was to where he ended up being is genius writing, like throughout. It's just the execution has always been questionable. Anyway, I
Yeah.
love Star Wars, so don't question that. All right. So lastly, before we get out of here, let's just do some predictions. Episode 5 predictions. We've had, some throughout the episode, but I just want to lay it out. My prediction is they don't do the Dragon Ball Z thing. That we get right to Anakin and Ahsoka, minus the throwing the lightsaber over the shoulder that we had in episode 8. That we actually have a legitimate, like, real conversation there, and this isn't necessarily a prediction, more so than a question, which is what Anakin are we going to get? Are we going to get post? I was about to say Endgame. Are we going to get post Return of the Jedi Anakin, where he's fully wise and he's grown, or are we going to get some variation of Anakin that is a representation of like a flashback, or a representation of what Snips knew him to be? Yeah, that kind of thing. I don't know the answer to that, but you know,
Okay. I mean, do you think it's going to be just conversation based between the two of them? You think there's going to be more to it, some type of training?
I don't think it'll be training. I think they might fight because that would be cool to see. I mean, it just would be.
Hmm.
Um, I think that there's going to be some beef, and the reason why I think that is because I mean the last time Ahsoka saw Anakin was during Rebels, I believe, in some kind of oh yeah, in a temple where the world between worlds kind of intertwined, kind of thing, um, and they fought, and they I believe it ended it with Ahsoka just not being happy with Anakin. I haven't seen this show in a minute,
Hmm.
but yeah. So I think that there's a good chance that Ahsoka will, because she hadn't seen him since then, and since then Luke had grown up, and all three of the original movies had happened. So
Yep.
between the time that she last saw him and now, he's already destroyed most of the universe and got knocked and died. Right?
Yep.
She's been doing something. That's always been the question too. Like, what the hell was she doing? She's been doing something. So I don't know if she just feels betrayed still by what Anakin
So it's going
turned
to be
out to
more
be.
closure for her then.
I think it's going to be big time closure. I think it's going to end with him telling her how to get to Sabine, which will be really interesting because it seemed like they already had a breakthrough, but at the same time, she's out here giving away keys to the universe. Um, so yeah, so I think that there's a possibility that there will be a lightsaber battle, um, but and some beef and some closure and some getting some stuff off your chest, and I think it'll end with them not hugging it out because they never really hugged it out. Well, I mean, sometimes, but yeah, um, yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I could see all of that happening. I do wonder if we're even going to see um, the others that just jump ship, or
Hmm.
like you said, if they're going to do the back and forth thing, maybe.
I think they have to.
I think before I was expecting to see Grand Admiral come up in this next episode. Now I'm wondering if it'll be the end of this one or episode 6 even.
I
I feel like
think
they just
it'll.
set up the stuff with
Yeah.
Anakin, so it's going to push that back a little bit.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I think that it'll be either the very end of this episode that we'll see Thrawn, because you'll have, because this is the way it happens in a lot of shows. You have the mentor mentee meeting, right, and at the end of the episode, the big bad reveals themselves, and that kind of like closure, Eye of the Tiger thing happens at the same time as the big bad finally shows up, and then it's like
Yeah.
it's that dichotomy, and then it's next time on the Ahsoka Ball Z, like, and then we get to her trying to get her and
Yeah.
Hera will meet up, and then they'll how the hell will they get to the other side of the universe? That's the big
Well,
question.
map's destroyed,
The map is destroyed.
and I don't know what ship they're going to use that can go across.
How is he getting back? Did he think about that before he destroyed the GPS? Anyway, but yeah, so um yeah, so that those are kind of my. I think that there will be a back and forth. I think we'll see Hera kind of pulling herself together, as well as Carson,
Yeah.
and I think we'll of course see the Ahsoka and whatever. And I think that there is a possibility that what will happen earlier, what we discussed earlier, will happen, which is kind of a flashback slash discussion between Baylan and Shin. I think all. Oh, and then Huyang is going to rescue somebody or do something.
Mm.
So I think all of
Hopefully
that
not
could
fight.
happen. Hopefully not who? Oh, hopefully
Hopefully
not
not
fight.
fight.
Yeah, he's on the sideline for the rest of the series. He can't fight anybody. He tried to train Sabine and ended up getting jacked up himself. I have no respect for his hands anymore. Surely he could beat me, but he can't beat other droids, so or
Mm.
other minions. Um, yeah, so that's it for our predictions. We really don't have a lot to go off of, and honestly, that's kind of a good thing that is not going to be predictable. You don't want
Yeah.
predictability. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so before we get out of here, we've been on for like an hour and a half. This has been great. Let's read
Yeah.
these last few comments and then head out. Da, 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 da. My wife says, "Sir," which is to say, "What are you talking about? You're lying on live stream to all your friends." And I would, to
Yeah.
which I would say, "You don't know me. You don't know my struggles. Um,
Whoa.
you don't know the depths of my soul." You know what
How
I'm
good is your
saying?
couch?
It's definitely therapy ready. Um,
That's good. Probably
yeah.
gonna need that.
Also, let me say this: I
Uh
adore my wife. I don't want anybody to be like, man, he does not like.
huh.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would die
That's.
for this woman 12 times over. There's
I
not a
believe it.
single thing I wouldn't give for this woman. I love her. I am joking. It is a joke. Without her, I would be a mess, and that is a fact, Jack, as they used to say back in the day. All right, so my lovely wife, who I love and have loved all my life, says Darth Maul was my favorite villain. They could have had done more with him, in my opinion. They did do a lot more with him, just not in the movies. He was in Clone Wars, and he had a hell of a run, that's for sure. He did come back with spider legs, and it got weird, but it also got good.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Sam Witwer the voice of Darth Maul in the animation also?
I want to say yes, but I
Okay.
also don't know. But that does sound familiar. The Jay Shrayway, which we're so happy to have you here. Thanks for being in the stream, man. He says, "Hey y'all, what's your overall favorite Disney Plus Star Wars episode so far?" Man, that is a oh that's tough. That's really tough because off the top of my head, this episode was great, but the season finale of season 2 of Mandalorian when Luke shows up, I mean, I yelled and screamed and was through the roof when that happened. Sorry for anybody spoilers of Mando season 2, but it is what it is. Um, but yeah, that like I don't recall being as excited or as elated in the moment of anything I've watched on Disney Plus before or after that episode. I mean, there's been a lot of good. I liked a lot of Mando. I even liked a lot of Mando season 3, even though it kind of meandered a bit. And the episode with Lizzo, it has nothing to do with her legal troubles now, was just not a good
Mm,
episode.
mm.
Um, yeah,
It was fun
so
seeing Jack Black though.
yeah, it was. It's just they, you know,
Yeah, I know.
for
It wasn't
what?
a great episode.
It's.
Yeah.
I think they call it stunt casting. Even
Yeah.
though I do love Jack
Christopher
Black,
Lloyd was the same way in that episode. Like there was no
exactly.
reason to have Christopher Lloyd there.
None whatsoever. And if Christopher Lloyd can still act, there are so many other great things he could do in Star Wars and be the guy who is killing droids off. Um, All right, so Jason Entertainment says, hopefully we will see Thrawn at the end of next episode because if we see him later on, I don't think we will have time to fully see Thrawn influence and why everyone's so afraid of him. I can't tell you how much I agree with you. I totally agree with that. I'm really hoping that this doesn't become, if Thrawn shows up in episode 7 and 8, I'm going to be dissatisfied. And if Ezra doesn't show up till episode 7 and 8, I'm also going to be dissatisfied because we don't know if these shows are getting season twos. Most of them
No,
don't. So, or
no.
haven't, except for Loki. I think
Now we
Loki's
do
the
know
only
this
one that's
is
gotten a season two. Well, and
these
Mandalorian.
characters are going to be part of the Dave Filoni movie, though, right?
Yeah, yeah, they're all going to. It's going to Infinity War itself into
Yeah,
one big movie, which honestly sounds great to me.
yeah. If we don't
I
get to
just hope they get a
finish these
better director.
storylines, yeah, I feel
Yeah,
like Thrawn's going to be a big part of that. So I'm afraid we're not going to get that much Thrawn this season.
yeah, and that would be a shame because we definitely want to see more of him. Um,
Yeah,
he will seem just like a rush character that didn't bring much, and he doesn't deserve that. I agree. Also, let me say this: he was in the trailer. He was
yeah,
the most. He was the biggest part of the trailer. He's the reason why we. I mean, we're here for Ahsoka and we love Rebels, but an argument could be made that we're here for Thrawn to see him in live action, and so don't like hold that away from us. We're here for Thrawn, right? So and Ezra, gotta love Ezra,
yeah,
but this is what I mean by the villain having a great villain elevates everything. So many
yeah.
people so many people love Batman, but so many, I don't want to say more, but so many people love the Joker just as much because he's a great villain. Depends on the iteration, of course, but that's the reason why, you know. But yeah, all right, Jay say Ray, hey, what's up, man? That's why I said this live is about bringing people together. We got Yamcha fans, we got YouTubers coming together. Come on now. Um, oh, my wife says love, and I say I love you too. You are the light of my
Oh,
life. Love you. So the Jay Shrey way. You put that tongue twister in your YouTube name on purpose. I'm convinced. um, um, for me, it's got to be when Grogu channeled the Force on the Rock in Mando season 2. That was epic. That was fantastic. You remember that, DJ?
yes,
There's a
yeah.
big Funko Pop like that's just
I
that scene.
I've seen that. Yep.
Yeah. Jason and Timmy says, way for me, it didn't come yet, but it will be when Ezra finally appears. Also, love Mando season 2 finale. Yep. And Jay
If you
Sherway
like
said,
those,
"Yo, Jason,"
if you like
which
those
is
finales, that's when you're going to see Ezra pop up, is in the final 2 minutes of the finale of this season.
I'm starting to believe that more and more.
I hope that's
Unfortunately,
not the case. I hope
yeah.
that's not the case.
So with that being said, you guys can feel free to send more questions, but we're going to try to get out of here. Um, thank you so much, everyone who joined the live, whether you stayed the whole time or came in and out or saw 2 minutes of it and said, I don't know what these guys are talking about. Get the hell out of my face. We love
Yeah.
all of y'all and appreciate it. Um, I believe we'll be back next week to do episode 5. Um, we'll get to that comment as well. I believe we'll be back next week to do a movie tubers stream for a reaction review for episode 5. Also, part of the movie tubers is Zack Attack reviews as well as screens and reviews. I'll put their info somewhere. I'll put their info in the description after this. I'll do it immediately. So if you just refresh it in about, I guess, 5 minutes after the stream, it'll be there. Subscribe to all of our channels. And yeah, see our individual Star Wars content too. Also, thank y'all so much in the comment section. Y'all make this stream what it is. Without you guys, we
Yeah,
would
that
just
was
be
a lot of
two
fun.
dudes talking to each other and we'd be arguing about Jar Jar Binks for 2 hours. So, which,
I
it could
wouldn't
be
argue that
entertaining.
long.
Oh, because you got to
I
check it.
understand. Hey, I love Jar Jar. I understand the hate for Jar Jar. Okay.
Yeah, and Yamcha says Jason.
Yeah.
Jason Entertainment says DJ. I swear I will cry. I think but not if Jay DJ. I swear I will cry. I think, but not if not of joy if Ezra is in the end of Ahsoka. Yeah,
Mm,
I totally get
yeah.
that. I'd be pretty pissed, and I think I think I feel like Filoni has to know that, right? He has to know that that would be annoying as hell. And just as I said, and Yamcha, I don't think we can argue with about Yamcha for 2 hours only because he's probably dead right now. So there
Yeah.
wouldn't be much to say.
He really don't have enough character arc to have enough to
No.
argue about. So
Yeah. And just at the J Sherry Way, hope you are doing well, bro. Love the love that we're seeing. So with that being said, thanks everybody for joining the live. Like the video, subscribe to our channels. It's uh movie time minutes. I forget the name of my channel. No, movie time minutes. Movie time minutes. See for yourself. Zach and Tech reviews and screens and reviews. We'll be back next week to talk about Ahsoka episode 5. And at the
looking
end,
forward
we'll
to it.
talk about why Yamcha and Jar Jar Binks are not worth the
Man,
time of the day.
when you got more guys on here to get on your side with this, it's really gonna be bad.
Yo, what's crazy is you have people supporting you. Not
Yeah,
just,
I know. It is crazy.
and yeah, let that be a lesson that there are people, there's something out there for everyone.
My
You
people
know,
are out there.
your people are out there, DJ.
That's why I got
And
on YouTube. I couldn't find them around where I live. I had to I'd get
you know
online to
what's
go find
funny?
them.
The reason I started a YouTube channel, and there's a couple of them, but one of the reasons because I wanted to talk to people about movies and
Yep.
TV shows. And I have a
Yep.
friend who I definitely talked about it, but I want to talk to. That's why I want people in the comment section. I want to I engage every person who comments. I engage with those comments because I want to have that conversation with everybody. If you take the time out to watch my stuff and you leave a comment, I feel like it is my obligation to acknowledge you. Unless you
And
say
his
something stupid, and I will still acknowledge that, but just not in the way that I
you'll
would like to acknowledge things.
you'll even acknowledge that on other people's channels.
Absolutely. Somebody tried to come at DJ in one of his videos, and I had to address that because you
Oh
don't,
man.
we're just they
I
told you to
probably
get
had
a
it coming
life.
to me on that one, but
No, because they told you to get a life because
yeah.
you were training as if you were a Ninja Turtle in a Ninja Turtle movie review. And it's
Yeah.
like, get a life. Dude, we're talking about teenage, right? Think about this. Teenagers who are not only teenagers, but they are mutants, they're ninjas, and they're turtles. And you want us to get a life. What is the subject matter that we're discussing? Right? So come on, y'all.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
talking about Star Wars. There are people with laser sticks and force and Sabines and Wrens and all kinds of other things.
Oh. Hey buddy.
A youngling.
He's going to bed. Want to say bye?
Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Yep. All right. Good night.
Bye bye.
Uh-huh.
See
Sorry about
that
that.
right there. You need to make it short about your son coming in because kids
he
bring in
could
subscribers. I'm telling you.
he he couldn't go to bed without hugging daddy bye-bye.
That is beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Can't wait to have a youngling
uh,
of my own. Wife, you heard that. So anyway, um,
oh boy.
we will end the stream here. I will order my therapy sessions tomorrow as promised. And yeah. Anyway, thanks so much everyone for joining, and we will see you next time. Yeah. Oh, last thing. I'm sorry. Sorry. Subscribe to the J Sherry Way. Subscribe to the Cosmic Broadcast. Subscribe to Press and Reviews. Subscribe to Jason Entertainment. All like if there's just YouTubers in here, subscribe to each other. Support each other. That's the only way we'll grow and grow this awesome community that I'm so glad to be a part of. And
Absolutely.
yeah, good night. Jar Jar Binks is a fraud, and we'll talk to you guys later.